and we'll see you all later.
Her defense team is arguing this case should be dropped altogether because they claim she has judicial immunity for her official acts, which
I will be asking the Committee of Homeland Security and Judiciary to be looking into the mayor of Nashville and any collusion or impeding of federal authorities and conducting their work.
Where do we even begin? I don't think people realize how common it's becoming for mayors, city council members, judges, members of Congress for being arrested, investigated, or about to be arrested as far as disrupting Homeland Security operations.
Today's hearing was over in less than 5 minutes. Milwaukee County Circuit Judge Hannah Dugan pleaded not guilty to the charges that she allegedly helped an illegal immigrant evade arrest by ICE agents outside her courtroom last month. In this hearing, we did learn that there is some video evidence the government has as part of its case.
Okay, so most people are aware of Judge Hannah Dugan because the FBI arrested her for literally grabbing an illegal immigrant, walked him out the back door of the courtroom to help evade ICE. Now, we have an update as far as the Judge Hannah Dugan defense team. Here's what they have to say.
But as you mentioned, her defense team is arguing this case should be dropped altogether because they claim she has judicial immunity for her official acts, which they argue includes removing anyone from her courtroom who could disrupt it. And while they cite the Supreme Court's ruling last year in the presidential immunity case against then former President Trump, Jonathan Turley and other legal experts question how far those immunity claims can actually go.
That's right, you heard that correctly. I am a judge, thus I have immunity when I'm doing official judge things. And of course, we all have the same question, what exactly falls under that category of official judge things?
I don't see how you can argue that because it raises the question, well, what else could she do? Could she have redirected or misled court staff? Could she have hidden this person in her office for a day? I mean, at what point does she stop acting as a judge?
This morning, a couple hundred people rallied outside the courthouse for Judge Dugan's hearing to protest the charges against her.
Today we are here to take a stand with solidarity with Judge Dugan, a hero.
I don't like having a judge shackled.
Now, I don't think people realize how big of a deal this is if Judge Hannah Dugan wins. Because if she wins, this means any judge in America can now consider walking an illegal immigrant out the back door as official duty, to include facilitating with ICE officers or really any officer to leave the premise. So this means there could be the potential for a lot of abuse, not only with illegal immigration, but also regular American citizens can be walked out the back door.
Yeah, well, Sandra, she's looking at up to 6 years in prison and a $350,000 fine if she is convicted.
Judge Dugan, if you had to do it again, would you do it the same? Judge Dugan, your response. Do you have judicial immunity, Judge?
Now, please stick around because we have a ton of other videos to get to. But first, this video is sponsored by The Wellness Company. Are you still feeling off after the COVID vaccine? You're not alone, and new research backs it up. In a groundbreaking study, Risk Stratification for Future Cardiac Arrest After the Jab, Dr. Peter McCullough highlights an alarming rise in sudden cardiac events among young and previous healthy individuals. His study found that tiny hidden patches of heart inflammation, often missed by doctors, could silently be building up, leading to sudden heart attacks during exercise or sleep. That's why the Wellness Company created the 3-in-1 Ultimate Spike Detox, crafted with 100% natural ingredients, specifically designed to help your body clear harmful spike proteins, reduce inflammation, and support heart health. Don't wait until symptoms strike. Experience the only formula approved and used by Dr. McCullough, a top freedom-fighting doctor who risked it all. Head to twc.health/tsply and use code TSPLY to get 10% off, plus free shipping. Again, that's twc.health/tsply and use code TSPLY to get 10% off. Go back to that pre-COVID feeling. Now, here's where things get serious. We're gonna go from Wisconsin down to Nashville, Tennessee. I don't think people realize what's actually happening in the capital of Tennessee.
I will be asking the Committee of Homeland Security and Judiciary to be looking into the mayor of Nashville and any collusion or impeding of federal authorities in conducting their work in the city of Nashville. I would also encourage this committee and judiciary to look at other leaders, municipal leaders across the country, as they obstruct this administration, this Madam Secretary and her employees in doing their constitutional job, which is uphold the rule of law. Madam Secretary, I thank you, and I yield back.
That's right. The mayor of Nashville, Tennessee could be arrested for obstruction, impediment, and verbal assault of Homeland Security officers. Let's dig into this.
Everything in my power consistent with applicable law to protect anyone who calls Nashville home. What's clear today is that people who do not share our values of safety and community have the authority to cause deep community harm. We're still working to determine more about what happened over the weekend, but what we know right now, based on public statements, is that state and federal officials coordinated without us to engage in traffic enforcement actions clearly intended to target immigration concerns.
Now, Tennessee has very, very strict anti-sanctuary laws. We'll get to that in a second. However, Homeland Security actually reposted the mayor of Nashville, Tennessee, and said ICE and the Tennessee Highway Patrol have arrested 196 criminal illegal aliens during an operation in Nashville. Despite the success of this enforcement operation, the Nashville mayor has claimed these operations were done by people who do not share our values of safety.
The mayor of Nashville criticized and attacked law enforcement verbally. He then instructed members of law enforcement to report any communication with federal authorities. He then directed the Police Community Oversight Board to direct citizens to file complaints against law enforcement if they cooperate with federal law enforcement. Considering we've seen a 400% increase against federal law enforcement, do these types of statements and actions by a municipal leader concern you?
Yes, absolutely. They perpetuate the violence against law enforcement officers. And what happens many times then is that our agents within the Department of Homeland Security go into situations with no backup, with no local response of people who know the communities, know the routes, the roads, or the needs to emergency services.
Now check this out. Tennessee has a very, very anti-sanctuary policy. In fact, the mayor could be facing up to 1 to 6 years in prison or a $3,000 fine. This is because no local government entity or official shall adopt or enact a sanctuary policy. A local governmental entity that adopts or enacts a sanctuary policy is ineligible to enter into any grant contract with the Department of Economic and Community Development until the sanctuary policy is repealed, rescinded, or otherwise no longer in effect. Again, Class E felony, very big deal. And remember, he's being accused of obstruction, impediment, telling local law enforcement to not work with ICE unless you report it to the mayor, telling civilians to report local officers if they work with ICE or Homeland Security. This is where you get into that gray area of a sanctuary policy.
Instructed law enforcement to report any communications with federal authorities. Last week, Mayor O'Connell issued an executive order aimed at tracking interactions with those federal immigration authorities after city leaders say they were not aware of the traffic stops happening between THP.
I support the raids, and any local, elected official that is interfering with ICE or Homeland Security for doing their job should be, quite frankly, prosecuted. You saw some members of Congress, get into a scuffle with ICE and kind of try to storm a detention center. And Kristi Noem, Secretary Noem, said just yesterday that they, quite frankly, may have committed felonies. So we'll see what happens as we go forward. But, Look, I stand with Americans.
So again, when you look at how vague the law is as far as not enacting or adopting a sanctuary policy, it looks like the mayor of Nashville, Tennessee is about to be in some big trouble. Mainly because when you look at how vague the law is and you look at other sanctuary policies such as the limitation of cooperation with local law enforcement and federal agents such as Homeland Security, it looks like he's adopting, or at the very least trying to adopt, a sanctuary policy.
Yes, ma'am. And if a municipal leader is found to be aiding and abetting illegal immigrants to evade federal law enforcement, would that be a criminal act?
Yes, I believe it would, sir.
And if elected officials impede ICE or Homeland Security in doing their job and pursuing illegal immigrants? Would that be a criminal act?
I believe so.
I'm not sure if Homeland Security is aware of how vague the law is in Tennessee. I don't think they're going to have a problem of actually filing a legit formal complaint to DOJ to take care of the mayor of Nashville, Tennessee. So I will be tracking this story, but let's continue all the way to New Jersey, Newark, New Jersey.
Make way, make way, wait, make way, make way. Make way, guys.
Okay, so this is U.S. Attorney Alina Habba of New Jersey. She was approaching the courtroom and is in the courtroom as far as prosecuting the mayor of Newark, New Jersey. But you can notice there were all of those protesters booing her and yelling shame. However, let's see how the mayor was received.
Mayor Baraka, why are you defending criminal illegal aliens? 75% of the people in Delaney Hall have criminal convictions or pending convictions. Why are you defending MS-13 members? And why are you defending murderers, child rapists, and drug traffickers over the citizens of New Jersey?
Now, to give some video credit, that was Savannah Hernandez. She's doing a lot of work on the ground as far as Newark, New Jersey is concerned, so go ahead and follow her. I also want to say this. She talked about the 70% conviction rate of Delaney Hall. That number might be higher because to get inside of Delaney Hall, and this is why Republicans are scratching their heads, if you want to get inside of that ICE detention facility, you would have had to already have committed a violent crime or a crime in general, not walking into the country illegally. That doesn't get you into Delaney Hall. It's the worst of the worst.
There's no evidence to suggest that any member of Congress who was in Newark visiting the detention facility in connection with their oversight authority has done anything wrong. No videos have been produced suggesting that they've engaged in any inappropriate activity. And if those videos existed, certainly they would have been put into the public domain by now.
Now, I know what you're thinking. What is he talking about? I'm watching footage right now. There's footage everywhere. I know what he's referring to. Hakeem Jeffries and Democrats do this all the time, just like how those Democrats, the members of Congress, are saying, I don't know how to body slam, yet you see her body slamming into people. This is because Homeland Security has not formally dropped or released any of the body cam footage they've been talking about. A lot of this is from external sources or Freedom of Information Act.
Those videos haven't been released because they don't exist. The members of Congress, Bonnie Watson Coleman, LaMonica MacGyver, and Rob Menendez, were the ones who were subjected to overly aggressive behavior by people who are weaponizing the authority of the federal government as part of some effort to try to intimidate House Democrats. It's not happening. They will not be successful.
Now, I noticed a lot of these members of Congress who are being accused of assaulting Homeland Security officers, they haven't been appearing on CNN, MSNBC, or any of the major news networks recently. Well, I found a very recent clip 4 hours ago as I make this video.
You know what? You're living in an un-American society with a unitarian government that abuses power on all levels and treats Congress members as if we are the enemy. You know who the enemy is? The enemy is the enemy of the people, and that's the white supremacists that you're talking about.
Oh, white supremacists. Okay.
Now, moving up the coast to Worcester, Massachusetts. Remember, this woman right here, Atel Ajehai, she was accused of assaulting Homeland Security officers and local enforcement. Here's this video. Now, Homeland Security and a couple of local police unions put in a complaint. Well, here's your update on Atel Ajehai.
Well, Sean, Jen, the entire common behind me filled with people chanting and holding signs, all of them calling for due process after a series of federal ICE arrests here in Worcester and across the Commonwealth.
When immigrant parents are under attack, what do?
We don't want to live in a community where our neighbors are pulled off the street.
We act like this sort of thing is okay.
Families, protesters, and neighbors filling Worcester Common after this arrest by Worcester police and federal ICE agents last week of a mother in front of her daughters, including one with a baby.
We are here to demand the due process of the law that is guaranteed to every person on American soil, citizen or non-citizen.
In a statement sent to News Center 5, the Department of Homeland Security says the woman they took into custody, Ferreira de Oliveira, illegally came to the U.S. in 2022, saying she was facing multiple assault charges. But those at today's rally say without due process, things need to change.
So there's no clear answer on whether or not this city official will be charged with assault or starting a riot or starting chaos, as Homeland Security was saying. I don't have any indicators that point in any direction. However, you can clearly tell there are protesters. They've even had to have meetings on Zoom because the local hall where the city officials meet got shut down, but we'll just wait and see what happens. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you leave your comments down below how you feel about all of these different cases. I do think it's funny how many people don't realize what is happening in the United States right now. I think people would be totally shocked how many city officials, whether judges, members of Congress, anyone who works in federal government, how involved they are of either trying to stop Homeland Security or get themselves involved with the ICE process or Homeland Security process, not even realizing they might be breaking massive laws, and some of them have already broken laws. Anyway, thank you guys for being here. God bless.